going to put down some of them. So the first point is that Nigeria is in rapid decline and is tending to become a failed nation.
It's already a failed.
Yes. There is the continuous use of laws. In the 1960s, during the First Republic, testamentary laws were used. I was born in the North. We know that NPC laws, Nigerian People's Congress, right, at the time of elections, to something else. I mean, the first time I saw an helicopter was in 1960 when I came to Yoruba, where I was born, to campaign. But of course, there was always constant mockery, especially by the NPC against any non-northern political party. Just at that time was the main headquarters for Action Group at the time. Anyway, so there is continuous use of dogs, and Boko Haram being the primary one, at least it was the first in the way to be created. And they had a mission that number one, they wanted to purify Islam. And that purification will involve annihilating the Shia Islam in Nigeria. And then after that, to take over the Nigerian government. So that's what we've been battling with for the past 15 years or so. And of course, we are all aware of the importation of terrorists into Nigeria. I mean, these are things that are in the open, and they are doing it in the open. Because Nigerian newspapers, when they turn something in a cartoon, this is become a generally known information. So I think this was from the Punch. That he says he was imported from neighboring countries for 2015 elections. Incredible. And there be a country where people can import terrorists. How didn't do that when they sent him to prison. But the people who did this, they are working free. And it's that terrorism that we are suffering from today. Of course, they added more to it. And of course, they imported more terrorists. December 2019, the head of state, the president then made a speech in Egypt that any African can come to Nigeria, they don't need to get a visa before they come.
That's right.
That they can get a visa at the entry point. But of course, we know it's a lie. But just a good word for the Fulanis from all over Africa to come into Nigeria. In fact, I saw one video
during COVID
where they were coming in a long line of them. They were coming in northern borders. They were speaking in Hausa. Hey, who are these? Where are they coming from? Where are they going? You know that the answers themselves finally are beginning to wake up to claim their ancestral heritage. Of course, the strategy has been to keep the Hausa from going to school and just use Islam to tell them that, look, it's harder school for you to be an Amajiri, and thereby deprive them of any ambition. No political ambition, no ambition to go into business, no ambition to go into the military, whatsoever. It's only Fulanis who are channeled in that way. But then they then use their votes for elections. Sorry, I'm just rushing through, but there are a few that I will concentrate on the way. Yes, this one is a bit important. Because I said, Dangote is sponsoring terrorism with impunity. It has been reported that his aim is to get the terrorists to capture Lagos. I mean, I saw a photograph 2 years ago where some of the Yoruba elite were in the party and they were sitting down together in Dangote. And my mind was saying, you know who you are sitting down with? Right. The so-called Buhari speech on 10th November 2019 was a blatant invitation investigation to Fulani terrorists to pour into Nigeria. The House and Senate did nothing then, and of course, they left without anything being known. The 6-week ultimatum issued in July 2022 that have now given the presidency that they gave the presidency on insecurity. It was a waste of time. It's just so that nobody will say they didn't say anything or do anything about it. The entire nationality movement, we know they tried to kill Governor Otom. And Otom said, what was his fault? His fault was passing the no open grazing law. Because of that, they tried to assassinate him because it was a block to their plan. The agenda is for Plateau, Kaduna State, Kaduna State, and various states. They really want to take over those states. In Manchester here, we've got Nigerian diaspora group, and we meet we pray for Nigeria once a month in Manchester, and then the first Monday of every month internationally. In other words, Nigerians from other parts of the UK and the world join us in those prayers. Anyway, the brother who is the chairman of the group is from Bokos, local government area, which is in the southern Plateau State. 2 years ago, when he went home, he happened by chance to meet a Fulani woman in Jos, who went there to sell donuts. So he got chatting with her. And then the woman told her that she had come from Bokos, it's about 550 miles to the south of Jos. That's where she lives, the family lives there. And then he was telling him that, look, that area is very good for their cattle. And they are determined to take it. That is the area now in Plateau State where a lot of terrorism is going on. And when I say terrorism, they are killing people in their houses. They are burning people in their houses. This, unfortunately, has been going on in Plateau State for about 20 years now. But just that now, when Buhari became president, that really reached a very high percentage. And now, I'm sure some of you might have seen this statement that the Fulani nationality movement made. Now, the significant one that I'm going to, because as I said, because of the time, the significant one that I'm going to call attention to is this 4-part-1. We want the Nigerian government not to make the mistake of arresting any Fulani leader or person. Never again. We are watching the actions of the government in relation to the explosion in Ibadan. I'm going to come back to that later. So, it's just that one point I want to take out from this statement. Rise in terrorism, where we are all witnesses to what has been happening. I mean, if anybody says this kind of thing will happen in the 1970s, I mean, it will look to be like, what are you talking about? You know, it's as if we are living a totally different life. But anyhow, now, this is an important one which I hope you remember that the retired Naval Commodore Kunle Olawume in August 2021 gave an interview, a very useful interview on Channels TV.
That's right.
Both him and the two gentlemen that conducted the interview, they were brave to conduct that interview because he exposed what is going on. And one of the key things he said is that they are trying to turn Nigeria into a Taliban type of country. Which means that it's only those who have the guns that will rule. Which is exactly what is happening in Nigeria now. And that's why people are being killed even inside their own houses without any fight back. There's no other country in the world that happens. Now, the National Intelligence Agency, National Intelligence Agency, they try to silence him, but thank God for those like him who are prepared to say the truth, despite dangers they may face. Why must we continue to be trapped in such a country? He mentioned, he said to them that he can't come and be naming the names, but that they know the names. If I said they are serving governors, serving senators, and of the presidency. who are sponsoring terrorism. That situation has not changed.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two governors have retired or moved to the Senate. The situation is still more or less the same.
That's right.
In Zamfara State, the governor of the state, has himself named one of the members of the state assembly who is sponsoring terrorism in the state. Of course, we know some of the terrible things that have happened. The Ras Samuel killed the cold blood in Sokoto, David Omo in Lagos, in Lekki, right? Oh, okay, this number 3. It's a bit of an eye-opener. My immediate elder brother, we were all born in Plateau State. So he lives in Ogun, just named myself for Jos. So we went to Omotayo one time, about 2018. He met a Yoruba man who told him that he met the Fulani man living in the Omotayo area. And the Fulani man told him that they have empowered them all with AK-47, brand new. To confirm, he went inside his house into his room and brought it out to show the Yoruba man. And then he said they have also trained them on how to use them. But he said to his fellow Fulanis that is this thing they are doing wise? If the people amongst whom they are living to rise up against them, where are they going to run to? That's the reality on ground. And that is why they are having such a field day in Yoruba land. Because they know our people are not armed. In the new belt, in fact, they send security forces to go house to house, to go and confiscate anything that you have, whether it's matters, octars,
That's right.
guns, bows and arrows. And then weeks after,
Yes, sir.
you have the terrorists coming with AK-47 and they just murder them. But they have an agenda to take over Nigeria. Now, what some of our young people don't know is that the Fulanis, they are not Nigerians. We need to emphasize they are not Nigerians. And that is why the settler and concept must not be overturned. Like in Plateau State, the people in Plateau State are really under fire because they want to drive them out. In fact, the one in the Fulani nationality statement, they said any non-indigene of Plateau State to move out because they want to face the indigenes. The Plateau State governor came to Manchester 30th of April this year, and I posed a question to him that how will Plateau State regain back its land? Of course, because I was born there, I grew up there, and it makes me sad to see how the towns have been divided. Because, for example, the Yoruba people, largely commercial people, have, in fact, they also started, which my brother told me about 15 years ago, is to burn down the Yoruba houses. With the expectation that you will not be financially well-to-do to rebuild them. And that strategy has worked. If you go into Google, you can see it. You see a lot of houses and burned down. You see the carcass remaining. And in fact, what has then happened is that those houses cannot be sold. No. About 12 years ago, when my brother sold his own house and told me how much he sold, I said, that's too small. He said, the time God that they could sell there, that there are so many Yoruba people that have not been able to sell there. That is Nigeria we have. Yes. Well, I'm going now to go straight to this Ibadan explosion. Okay. So Ibadan explosion, God remands woman and 2 men. So that's a photograph of the site. That's another photograph of the site. And the court said that they stored explosives and weapons of mass destruction, as well as radioactive materials. And what jumps up in my mind is that how did they get those radioactive materials? It's not something you can go to the market to buy. You can't even order it. But the Fulani nationality statement, one I read earlier, has given an insight that this must be the Fulani nationality movement that have done that, brought the explosives, because you buy, like in the UK, for the universities to buy such materials for their research, they are strict. Because they have to follow. So these are not materials you can just buy order online or send to people. No. It has to be people who are registered by the government to do that. Anyhow, so the explosion, when I started trying to find out what had happened, I phoned several people at home. I was shocked that many of them didn't even know about it. They didn't know about it in the fourth project. No. And unfortunately, we don't know what type of radioactive material they use. What is the impact on that area of old Godija? Yeah. I mean, to buy explosives and store it in an expensive house. I mean, Godija is what?
Posh area.
What is the name of in Lagos?
Ikoyi,
yeah, Ikoyi is the one I'm looking for. Just like Ikoyi is to Lagos. So for somebody to buy explosives and to go and put them there, because my sister who lives in London told me that the people who live around the area said that nobody lives there. That occasionally one person comes on a motorbike, goes for a few hours and leaves. So that is an agenda. Now we need to connect this to what retired Commodore Olamide said. That for them to achieve this relevant and type agenda for Nigeria, that 10% casualty, that means 22 million people killed. Or 20% casualty, that means 44 million people killed. Means nothing to them. Of course, it means nothing to them because they are not Nigerians. It's our own people that will be killed. And honestly, when this thing happened, and I was going home, I was really very upset that the news like this should have been on the TV, it should be in the papers. You know, it should be something that people, in fact, it should be people to demonstrate on the streets. Because they want to wipe out an entire area, and it's part of their agenda. But just thank God that God restrained them. Now, because of that, I'll go to the final part. Oh, well, okay, maybe just this graph, I just show this graph quickly and go to the final part. And the graph here is just over the last 2 years, how the currency has dramatically changed. So you can see that in the past 2 years, our currency has been devalued by 4.60, which is really a big number. And that is why now many more people have been plunged into poverty. It is sad. And now, this is a statement taken from this video. In 2019, the video was made. So this is Tinubu speaking. If we reduce the purchasing power of the people, we can further slow down the economy. Let's widen the tax net. Those who are not paying now, if it is inclusive of our lawyer, Tinubu, let the net get bigger and we take in more taxes. That is what we will do in the country. When I saw this, because I didn't know this statement was made 5 years ago. I only learned about it about 10 days ago. When I saw this, I said, oh, is this the agenda? Is this why now millions of people just in 15 months have been plunged into poverty? It is alarming. And what makes me further unhappy is that they're trying to create the situation that happened in the Soviet Union in the 1980s, where the economy was run totally to ground. And then they started selling their national assets quickly. That is where the oligarchs in Russia, that is where they got their money from. Because they bought the assets cheaply and they sold them at exorbitant prices. Right. Okay, I mentioned this earlier. Comparing ourselves with India, because we are both colonies of the UK. But unfortunately, India has been to places. India virtually makes everything it needs, including making their spacecraft to go into space. But for us, even the palm oil that we have, we cannot produce enough. We are importing. Anyway, time will not permit to go into that. Again, this is an intelligence report from a northern Christian sympathizer. Because this Fulani agenda is targeting the Middle Belt and the south. Okay, because of that, we will not be able to go through, but we will see the consequences. In fact, they've achieved most of this 9-point agenda. I need to go to the very last point on this. The effects of faulty foundation. I don't know how many people have seen the former colonial office staff, Baba Harold Wilson, Harold Smith, who has confessed that they deliberately manipulated the census figures to hand over power to Fulani. That's right. Which is what we have been suffering all these years. That's right. But the number 5, no, not number 5, I think number 8. Okay. So I said, solution for Yoruba and all ethnic nationalities. Practically to your tent, O Israel. Many will remember that this was what happened after Solomon died. King Solomon died in Israel, and his son Rehoboam, who took over, the people came to him, asked him, please reduce the burden, reduce the tax burden, then we'll serve you as we serve your father.
He said no.
But he refused. Instead, they said, I will make the situation worse. So therefore, they said, to your tent, O Israel. And the nation of Israel was divided into 2. Abraham said to Lot, we are brothers, we should not be fighting. You take the hill, I will take the valley. Or you take the valley, I will take the hill. And then they separated. Yes. How much? And they were the same people. What Abraham and what were Hebrews. But they had to separate. But because there was no point in fighting. How much more of a nation, Nigeria, where they have forced so many diverse people together. And unfortunately, what we are seeing is constant warfare amongst our people. Well, because of the time, I will just go to the very last point. This is the last point. Point 8. How shall we achieve formation of the Yoruba sovereign nation? The second one, by believing in the advocacy efforts of our leaders in the Yoruba nation movement. Mr. Banji Akintoye and Chief Sunday Adeyamogo, we need to support them in their efforts. Their efforts and labor will not be in vain. Amen. Then number 2, by enlightening our people, we need to tell them about the necessity of getting out of a forced union that has become a union of penury, disease, violence, and death. Number 3, by getting involved in the campaign for self-determination. This will require coordination with the leaders of the movement and with other groups. And then finally, number 4, by faith in and prayers to God. We need to exercise faith in God. We need to ask God for forgiveness for the rebellion of our ancestors at Babel, for sending our people into slavery, in the transatlantic slave trade, and so on. We should individually, in our families, and collectively call on God to forgive us and deliver us from this bondage. Thank you.
I say that one. I say, thank you very much. Any question?